All right, welcome to another episode of New Year Black Me. Last episode, I had my little rant on the rise and fall of Black culture and music and relationships and how all that plays a role in to the breakdown of Black families and relationships and marriage and so forth. I want to kind of expand. Actually, I want to go in a different direction now in regards to the talk. So we kind of talked about relationships and things like that. I kind of want to go into children. Okay, so we know that in the Black families, we have what we call the talk, and that's where parents sit down and tell their son about police and how they need to conduct themselves in the public and just so forth, just to make sure that they're not affected in a negative way about based on biases and how society feels about them and how they should carry themselves to make sure they're safe. But we don't typically have that talk with women. At least I know the talk that I had was different than what my brother had. The talk with us is pretty much just conducting ourselves ladylike, or at least for me. And I know as a generation Y wire, it wasn't the same talk that Generation Xers received because they had the more, and I'm speaking about women. I can't necessarily speak about men per se, but as a woman, women were taught in Generation Xers, you need to be more independent. And then it wasn't until my mom, got married, she started teaching me more about femininity and so forth. And but then she still was like, "Hey, you want to make sure that you're still independent at some respect." And now you're hearing more about this femininity movement about wanting to be stay-at-home moms and stay-at-home wives, and you don't have to work and be independent with that respect. And then you have these generation Z, where it's more feminist, where we're going back to being more modern and take charge of our life, and we don't need men or any level of masculinity because in what most society, modern women believe that any level of masculinity is some form of it being toxic in some way, and now we should just be gender fluid and the gender roles are blurred. Well, um I'm not going to go into that right now, but I am going to go into the whole talk with children because I think that girls should also receive the talk about not just police brutality, but especially women who are darker brown. So yes, um all Black women should get the talk, but if you are a tone like mine or darker, you should have also an additional talk about your skin color because society is going to society, even Black men I'm seeing is pretty much saying that dark skinned women, or they view dark skinned women as some just being masculine altogether, or the angry Black woman phenomenon, or the strong Black independent woman that has no shred of femininity in her. So we're going to have just a little pillow chat here because that stems from parents, and as we talked about in the last video, how they conduct themselves and how it trickles down to children. But women need to talk as well because then we wouldn't have this rise in this Black feminist movement that's putting themselves in this other feminist group that is kind of not relevant to the Black community. I'll have to talk about that on another day as well, but that movement is not necessarily for us because Black men themselves are not the ones that is hammering down on us and preventing us. Now, if you're saying you are in a relationship with a Black man and he's put you down, then you don't know how to vet. And that's another video on how to properly get with the right man who's not going to do these things. But just speaking in general about Black women, in general, all colors and shades should have the talk. And I think there should be additional talk for Black women because of a darker shade, because then they get to this thing where they have this complex, this identity crisis where they don't feel um, deserving of love, or they allow themselves to settle because society has told them their skin color is a hindrance and it's not what Black men want. But it is a lie. It is false, because most Black men date inside their race, and not all men who are Black are going after lighter colored Black women. I think it's this falsity and this thing that's it's a scare tactic to let Black women think that nobody wants them or loves them, and then it's creating this angry Black woman, and you men this, and you know, because we don't hate men here on this channel. We don't hate Black men. We love Black men. We don't hate educated people, educated men, Black men, and we call them educated lame. We don't do that here. We don't call our men educated lames. We don't call them squares. And we don't disrespect Black men on this channel. But we also do not disrespect Black women. And we want to get to the point that we have this talk with women very, very quickly, even if they are teenagers. We need to have this talk because society is changing the lines, is blurring the lines, and this Black culture thing is kind of, with women, it's creating this whole nother culture of Black women separate from when we were all this one unity, this one fist.
Now I'm gonna tell you something. One finger pointing the blame don't make no impact. But you ball up all them fingers into a mighty fist and you can strike a mighty blow.
Now it's like, here's Black women here, or here's the Miss Independent over here, here's feminine women here, there, and we're talking about just Black people, and then here's the conservative Black men here, and here's the power to the Black people here, and then there's the pro-Black woman here, and it's just everyone, the pro-Black man or woman here, and we're just all like, here's the naturalistas here, and the girl with the straight relaxer here, and we're just, and it's just so much. Now, by the way, I do not have relaxed hair. It's just blown out. Lord help me, if water hits it, that thing will puff up into an afro. It was a little curly afro. But I think that we are separating ourselves from each other, and we're kind of putting ourselves in different little boxes. And at the end of the day, we're all Black. And pro-Black is just to love your people. That's all it is. It's not to hate anyone else. It's, and we got this whole political thing about Democrats here, Republicans here, independents here. But here on this channel, we're independent thinkers. We don't, you're not going to put me in a political box. You're not going to do that here. But what I think that we need to have this more in-depth talk with men and women more, but with women, because I'm seeing this change in culture and just society culture now, where there's a push for Black women, and it looks like that push is trying to separate Black women from Black society. Like, we're different, and then we're looking at our men like they're beneath us. So it's shredding us of femininity. It's separating us from the Black man, and it's separating us to think that we're better than the working class Black men, when deep down they don't like, they being the government or the dominant group, don't like either one of us, but they're using us as this ploy to, they're using it to separate us. And that further divides the family. It further divides, and children are going to grow up seeing this difference, and they're like, family? Who wants family? Who wants marriage? Who wants to bring families together? And let's not talk about how now we're shredding femininity and masculinity all together, so we're just gender fluid, or we have no he or she identity, to the point that now people don't want to mate together. Men and women want to mate together, and we just now are going to just um, do in vitro, and not have a family. So yes, I still think there's a horrible breakdown in the Black family, and I think there needs to be a new talk. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. If you're a Black woman listening to this channel, tell me what you think, because I don't. I want us to all be one. I think there's nothing wrong with a woman being all of these is one instead of us separating. What's wrong with me being natural and pro-Black and feminine and and independent with some respect? And when I say independent, I don't mean you're to the point where you take that level of independence you have in society and you put it in your relationships, and then it still blurs the lines of who's wearing the pants, who's masculine, who's feminine. So nothing wrong with wanting to be natural, but also a boss, also feminine, um, and how you carry yourself. Also, um, have, education, and also wanting to be, just all these things. There's nothing wrong with that, but we just put ourselves in little boxes. And I'm not, I just feel like that is, by the time my children grow up, the whole idea of what is it to, what is Black culture is just going to be blurred, because on top of that we have culture vultures, and they're going to be in the midst as well. So what's going to come when my children get older? I have a 1-year old, I have a 2-year old, and I have a 6-year old. Like, what's going to happen when they grow up? And what I'm talking about is going to be foreign to them. When they watch my videos, it's going to be foreign to them. They're going to be like, what is this Black culture she's talking about? This is Black culture. I don't know. That's my other little rant I'm having here. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts.